Hello, hello, beautiful people. It's Coach Lacresha. And earlier, I was trying to go live. Somebody needs to learn a little bit more tech skills, but we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to get somebody else to do it. How about that? So, anyway, guys, I've gotten a lot of questions from you all, and I know the main ones who ask me questions are probably going to be the main ones who see these videos. So, I'm going to do a quick series of 3 videos to kind of answer some of these questions and also to hit on some really important topics that kind of your questions actually kind of stirred. Now, for those of you who have not read any of my books, definitely check them out on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or you can order at my website. They're usually discounted there, and many of them actually come autographed already. So that's www.lacreshahayes.com. And if you decide to get multiple books, like multiple copies of books, just contact me for a discount. I do try to work with people. Now, so this first video is going to be about what it means, what ascension and awakening means. Okay. So many of you ask me this question. I get this question more than I get any other question. Some of you are really confused by these new age terms, so to speak, and that's how you kind of consider it. You consider it as a new age term. Well, let me first clear that up. Let's deal with the word new age and what that says and the truth of it. Okay. There's really nothing new about most of the new age stuff. They've been using crystals since the beginning of recorded history. People have been on a walk for spiritual enlightenment and ascension since the beginning of time, and have always sought more answers about where they come from and why they're here. So that's not new either. Tree hugging isn't new. Energy manipulation isn't new. Maybe the terminology is new, because from that perspective, our whole country, if you live in the United States, is pretty new, Our version of the English language is new. So you could say the terminology is rather new, but there's nothing new about the New Age movement. Now, am I a part of the New Age movement? No, indeed. But the terminology of awakening and ascension generally flows into the New Age arena, and that's where a lot of you have heard it from and where you associate with. Now, first of all, let me just say awakening and ascension are not the same thing. Well, this is actually second of all, because first of all was me defining New Age. Okay. But awakening and ascension are not the same. If you think about the movie The Matrix, if you have not seen it, you should watch it. It's a whole movie under the premise of all people actually, they're alive, but they're plugged into a computer program, a computer simulation, and they don't realize that they are part of a computer simulation. You understand what I'm saying? That their thoughts and desires and behaviors are all semi-controlled. It's all a controlled environment, and that they're just basically food. Their energy that their body produces is food for the computers. Okay, and then there's a few who get unplugged or who escaped, and then they go on this mission to unplug as many people as possible. Well, that process of coming unplugged is what a lot of people consider awakening. It's when you get free from religious dogmas, social dogmas, and all these other dogmas that we have been laden down with. It's when you really come to see that we are part of a matrix of sorts, that you open your mind to realize that everything you thought you knew, you probably don't know. The awakening process is a process of which you stop just accepting what's the normal answers, the status quo. You stop accepting that and you begin to ask questions. You begin to question everything because you begin to realize that most of what you thought you knew is not actually 100%. Some of it is not even 1%. It's just blatant lies. Depending on what you're waking up from, a lot of people, they don't go from carnality straight into spiritual awakening. Most of the time we dip through some kind of religious system, whether it be any of the Abrahamic faiths, whether it be Buddhism or this or that, Christianity and Judaism and the Islamic system are all part of the Abrahamic faiths. And so we begin to realize that All of this stuff is plagiarized. I mean, it's just a retelling of the same stories over and over and over and over and over. Now, that's one interpretation. From another perspective, you could say that all of the cultures and civilizations that's ever existed was having the same experiences, because there are indeed these things that exist in the world. But you just get to a place where you question everything. So most people who are awakening, they tend to fall away from mainstream religion. They end up being more spiritual than religious, and they end up asking more questions than they do have answers. Now, ascension comes after the awakening. That's a point when you actually begin to devote your life to meditation, to, prayers, to questions and answers, and developing your own inner strength, your ability to believe according to what your own inspiration. You begin to unlock the abilities and talents that's hidden inside yourself, and you begin to realize that if there's any question you have, the answer is going to be found within. Rather, other people have to come along to wake you up or to spark that answer from inside of yourself or whatever, but you begin to search deeply within. That is one of the beautiful things about meditation. Not only is it a way to witness the thoughts that's going on inside of your head, and witness your inner state, your inner condition. It's also a way to change your inner condition. It's a way to tap into something bigger than you. It's a way to get into the collective consciousness. Now, collective consciousness is one term. You may also hear some people call it source, Akashic records, or even God. Okay, so I try not to get hung up on terminology, because a lot of people are lost right now because they're hung up on terminology. They have gotten lost in the way these terms are explained, and they're missing the big picture, the overall picture. So for the sake of this video, and to keep it short, I want to make sure you guys understand that the awakening process for you will probably not be exactly like anyone else's. Now, there are certain symptoms that tend to flow across lines, whether you're whatever color you are, whatever age you are, whatever social, economical background you have. So there are some things that happens to everybody. Like, for instance, this feeling of alienation. Sometimes there can be a moment of paranoia, or a season or a time period where you feel lost and alone, and ungrounded, like you're floating out in nowhere alone. So that's something that tends to happen to everybody. But trust me, just stay on the path, and you will find your grounding again, and you will, bring new people into your life. Your vibration will change, and people who are on this same path will come along to help you. You won't have to seek them out, really. They'll just be there. You'll discover probably that a lot of the people that's in your life now at a distance on the outskirts will move into your inner circle, because they just been waiting on you to wake up. The universe, God, source, the all, has a way of supplying what you need when you need it. Now, the last thing that I'll say pertaining to awakening, ascension, and all of that is that I want you guys to understand something. You don't have to leave your church, your mosque, your temple, or whatever you go to. You don't have to leave any of that to awaken. You don't have to pledge allegiance to any sect, cult, order. Coming out of church doesn't mean you joining the Illuminati just because you learn about symbolism or alchemy, or energy manipulation, the law of attraction, the 7 hermetic principles, the 42 laws of Ma'at. Just all of these things that you're going to be learning, that doesn't by any means mean that you have to affiliate yourself with anybody else. Let me explain to you the most beautiful thing about awakening, about ascension, and about all of that, is that you don't have to be bound again. You don't have to wake up from Christianity to run to Islam, then run to Buddhism, then run to whatever else You don't have to wake up from Islam to run to Hebrew Israelites, run to the Black Moors, you don't have to do that. Now you can. I'm not saying that you shouldn't or that you can't. What I'm saying is you don't have to, and sometimes it's hard for us to wrap our mind around being independent, so to speak, being sovereign, being a sovereign. And we're going to talk about that in later videos, what it means to truly be a sovereign, because most of us are not sovereign, but we want to be, whether we know it or not. That's part of our seeking. We don't even realize it, but that hunger is because, and that frustration is because we know we can feel these chains that got us bound. Our arms are bound, our feet is bound, our brains, our mind is bound, right? Our hearts are bound. We're all bound up, and that's uncomfortable. We were not created to be slaves, no matter what anyone may tell you. And even if we were created with too much power to remain that way. Okay, so this has been my video answering the question about what is ascension, what is awakening, are they the same, and a little bit of insight on how unnew the new age movement is. Okay, you guys go and have a very blessed day. Don't forget to click subscribe and the bell, and like and share, and I will appreciate it dearly. Namaste.